Hi. Caught myself napping there. I pushed the go button before I actually had my headphones in place. So that was a bit of a false start. Here we are again. It's Wednesday lunchtime. That means it's lounge room chat time. And as usual, or as I have been doing over the last few weeks, I'm talking about how to detox your corporate career. Hi, My Time TV. I think that might be Paula masquerading as My Time TV. Hi Paula, thanks for joining me. Today I'm continuing on the theme of detoxing your corporate career and getting into a topic that's one of my favourites. In fact, let's face it, everything about detoxing your corporate career is my favourite. But this is a particularly tricky one. It's something that I think is a bit of a myth that we've all fallen into, a bit like the Australian dream. Something that we all believe we should be doing, and we should be doing seamlessly, easily and effortlessly. It's all shiny and perfect on the surface, but underneath, the little feet under the water like the ducks are paddling away. Hey Adair Palmer, thank you so much for finding time today. I know you're a busy little chook yourself, or a busy little duck maybe. So glad to have you here in the lounge room. So today I'm talking about an aspect of detoxing your corporate career that's a bit of a trap that we seem to have all fallen into. And maybe this is a generational thing, but this is something that I'd like to open up for discussion and, of course, get your views, because this is what it's all about. I've got my opinion, you've got yours, and it's a wonderful time to have a chat because it's lunchtime. So today I'm talking about taking off your Superwoman cape. Now, what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is women today are in a very fortunate position of being able to step into the workforce, carve themselves out a career, and really make headway in having a professional life. But having done that, having had that success, having made that headway into having a corporate career, and not necessarily in corporate, you could have chosen your own profession. You could be a doctor, a lawyer, an acupuncturist, a chiropractor. There's professional women, or women who've decided to open their own business or are working from home as mumpreneurs, as we like to call ourselves. This applies to you as well. There is this expectation that because we now have the right to be going out of the home and getting into the workplace, that we still seem to have the hangover from the 70s. Now, I have to admit to you, I caught an episode of that Home in Time for Dinner or Back in Time for Dinner or something that, what's her name, Annabelle Crabb's running on the ABC at the moment. And the episode I caught was the decade of the 70s. And this was where, the women's movement really came into its own in Australia. And women started moving out of the home and into the workforce. So this particular episode showed the main woman of the story getting very excited because, of course, she's a woman of current day pretending to live in the 70s, feeling trapped in the home. All of a sudden she's allowed out into the workforce. So she goes out into the workforce and it shows, the latchkey kids and what they had to deal with coming home from school and getting themselves sorted. And then, husband coming home and mum coming home. Mum seemed to get home before dad, that's okay. And she went straight into, oh my God, you kids have made such a mess. I've got to clean up the mess. You haven't even cleaned away the breakfast stuff. What's going on? So she was cleaning up breakfast stuff. She was cleaning up after school stuff. And then it was, Mum, what's for tea? How many of you out there, put your hands up? Not that I can see you. Maybe you can give me a thumbs up in the comments. How many of you come home to that one too, if you've got kids? If I had $1 for every time I heard that, well, I'd be a millionaire, I'm sure. So yeah, what's for tea, Mum? So she went straight from finishing her job into the home, clean up mode. So basically stepping back in time for herself, stepping straight into the role she had just left, which was stay-at-home mum. And not that there's anything wrong with being stay-at-home mum, but as it was known in the 70s, that's all that women were good for. is to be at home, clean the house, cook the food, support the husband. And in this episode, they even showed how this woman had to prepare a 3-course gourmet meal to woo and schmooze her husband's next big contract. So he was hoping to score work with this particular person who happened to be a world-class chef. So this woman had to prepare a gourmet meal on top of everything else that she was doing. Hey, Gordana, I see you've joined the conversation. Thanks for dropping into the lounge room today. I'd love to hear some of your take on this. So I'm just giving you what's going on in this episode as kind of background to some of the evolution that I suspect has gone on for women over the last, 3 decades, through the 70s, 80s, 90s, and now into the, are we 20s? Oh my goodness. There is this expectation and this anticipation even for women to move into a career. We don't have to be a teacher or a nurse anymore. There's a plethora of opportunity out there. Hey, Gordana, I'm glad you're finding this interesting. Thank you for joining. So there are so many opportunities out there. And then when we get out there, we find that we're actually competing on a bit of an uneven field, mainly because, or it could be because, we're relatively newcomers to the workplace. I mean, it's been a few decades now. You'd think things would have changed a bit. But there is still that little bit of inequality in opportunities available for women, in income earning potential and opportunities, and also in when we get ourselves into situations where we've developed a family life, and whether that's, the husband and wife situation or a same-sex couple or whatever it is, there's that disparity that there's one person who carries most of the load at home as well as going out to work. And so often the choices today are based on economics, and it's actually economically necessary for families to have both parents out in the workforce, it's quite distressing and it's quite a hard way for people to work. In fact, I was talking to a friend this morning who has just had to go back into the workforce recently, and although she loves the work that she's doing and the people that she's working with, the place that she's working for is located so far from her home that she's having to leave incredibly early in the morning. Often she's driving for anywhere up to an hour and a half, even sometimes if the traffic's particularly bad or if there's an accident or something. So it's a fairly long day for her. And then when she comes home, same thing. She gets home, she's not there for school pickup or when her daughter does actually start school, to be able to pick her up from school. And she's finding that her evenings are a real rush because, she's having to race home from work, get dinner ready, get young child organised, with bath and playtime, have some time with child and all that sort of thing, have some nice quality family time. But it's all very rushed because with a young child, obviously they've got to get to bed at a reasonable time. And then she's up at 5 o'clock the next morning doing the same thing. So I can already hear in her voice that I'm starting to settle into this routine and it doesn't quite fit me. So this is some of the thought process behind the idea of our Superwoman Cape. And I've seen it on Facebook too, where I see mums who are working at home for themselves, who are juggling their crazy deadlines that they have to meet. There's that added pressure when you're working for yourself of, if I'm not on the go, actively working and earning money, the income stops, and that means trouble for the family. So I just lost my train of thought. That's terrible. Shiny thing, as Adair might say, and there's not even any shiny things floating around my room at the moment, other than Isis, of course, over my shoulder, who I can see reflected in my lens. So I can't really blame Isis because she looks after me. So that's not an excuse for me to lose my train of thought. So this idea that women in particular have to be everything to all people at all times. We choose, many of us, to go into the workforce and have an yeah, thanks Adair, have an anticipation and an expectation, and we often put a lot of pressure on ourselves too. Squirrel, yep, absolutely, I'm guilty of that one too, thanks Adair. That added pressure of being able to perform at our very highest level all the way through our career, even at those times in our lives when we may be mothering small children. And anybody who has mothered small children will understand that, you know, with sleep deprivation and with the emotional needs of your kids and so on, it is very hard to maintain that exceptionally high level that many high achievers have of themselves. And this is what I'm talking about, the Superwoman Cape, because it doesn't just stop in the workforce, it's at home as well. There's this expectation that we run our house seamlessly, that, you know, we have everything prepared and it's all good and everything looks slick. Our kids are happy and their welfare is well looked after. And Adair is saying, when you get crap happening in your personal life, it's tough to take your professional self to work every day, absolutely. And when you are dealing with sick children, or perhaps, you know, the husband or your partner has been called away for a few days to attend a course or whatever it is, yeah, Adair's saying, yes, who cooked up that BS? Exactly, I don't know. I think it's a similar societal myth as the Australian dream, where we all go to school, get good grades, get a good job, buy a house, have a family, have 2 cars, and get ourselves into an incredible burden of debt. I think this is just a spin-off of that as well, where we have these incredible expectations of self, where society has incredible expectations, and everybody is showing on the surface a perfect life. You know, if you look at the Joneses next door, they've got 2 cars, they've got the perfect house, they've got everything looks to be flowing really well. And so we have this little added pressure on ourselves that, well, if they seem to be doing it perfectly well, what's wrong with me? I should be able to do it too. So there's that added extra pressure. And I've seen posts on Facebook where, you know, there's mum at home tearing her hair out because she might have a sick child at home going, I've got to get all this shit done. What do I do? Any advice out there from people in a similar position? How do you deal with the kids at home when they're sick and still get done everything you need to get done? So here it is, that idea that you're Superwoman, that, you know, that it's not even a consideration for you to stop and go, hang on, that's unreal. That is unreasonable, that is unrealistic, that is in fact a crazy thing for me to try and do. I have a sick child, I'm sleep deprived myself because the baby's been up throwing up all night or whatever it is, you know how it is with kids. How on earth do I think I'm going to get through a full day's work at my best level when I've got this going on? Hey, Michelle Pratt, thank you for coming in. And Adair, you're saying you have been there. Yep, I think there would be a lot of women out there who can relate to what I'm saying. As a mother myself, I've been there many, many times. And there is an expectation in the workforce in particular that you just get on with it. You just do it. You just manage it. And it's even more difficult for single mums when they're in the position of being called at work with childcare or school or whatever, saying you've got a sick child, you need to come and take this child out of care, out of school and take them home. And there is often an expectation in the workforce that, well, you stay here and somebody else does that for you. And I've been known to say in my past life in corporate, when my boss actually said that to me, was, well, I don't actually have a wife. I am the wife. I have to go home and do this because that's my child. I don't think I was very popular for that, but I don't really mind because that's what the truth was. So Dare is saying in 2002 she took on a manager's job, she finished her master's degree and popped out a baby and thought she could keep going. So have you taken your Superwoman Cape off yet? And I see hashtag nodding. So Adair, shall we see if Facebook is being friendly this week? Would you like to come in and share a little bit of your story about what it's like to actually have the Superwoman Cape on and what it means to actually take that off and be okay with being less than perfect, less than superhero? Oh, it was ripped off you. Okay, so there's a big story. All right, I'm going to see. Fingers crossed, Facebook loves me. Facebook loves me. I can't add you, Adair. Let me see. Let me see. I'm sending you an invitation. I have my fingers crossed. Facebook loves me. Facebook loves me. I love you too, Facebook. You're so fantastic. You help me share my story. You help me share other people's story. You help us get information out there to people who really need it. So Facebook, thank you for helping me. So yeah, sometimes we do actually have our Superwoman Cape ripped off us. And I think, you know, if we had our druthers, we'd rather actually be the person to choose to take the Superwoman Cape off and be a bit real about what we want to achieve and how we go about it, rather than having it ripped off. Because I think getting it ripped off, hey Michelle Pratt, thank you for the love hearts there. Yeah, sometimes when the cape is ripped off, it includes a bit of a tumble, particularly if it's ripped off with a bit of vehemence. You could end up on the floor, badly battered and bruised by your fall. So if you have opportunity to choose to take your Superwoman Cape off, I would really recommend that you do that. So while I'm waiting to see, so Michelle, Adair, you're coming on as My Time TV all of a sudden. I hit the wrong button. Let me see if I can invite you in as My Time TV. Which might not happen because that's an actual page, isn't it? Oh, well, yeah, no. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just making it up as I go along, trying to multitask and do the elevator music in the background. No results found. And Adair can't change to me on mobile phone and can't enter as a page on my phone. Okay, I guess Facebook is just being, let me see what happens if no, Adair Palmer can't go live with me now either. Interesting. I'm on the pooter here as me. Oh, that's tricky. Okay, fair enough. All right, so what I wanted to share with you today, while I've still got a little bit of time here, is I've got 3 tips for you if you're thinking that what we've been talking about for the last 20 minutes, #Facebug, #Facebug. I totally agree. Facebug is the bane of my existence at the moment. Never mind. I will wear that one. So yes, if you're thinking that what we've been talking about for the last 20 minutes or so might somehow relate to you, that you could actually be carrying Superwoman's Cape on your more than capable shoulders, I have 3 tips for you on what you could do to actually choose to take that off. I'm glad you're finding the Facebook amusing, Michelle. I have to sit and laugh too, otherwise I'd just cry, because sometimes I think Facebook hates me. But okay, so the tips that I have for you is to realise that wearing the Superwoman Cape is artificial. In striving to be all things to all people and be perfect and seamless and shiny on the surface, you're actually setting yourself up for an endless cycle of, I'm not enough, I'm not good enough, I'll never be enough, I'll never be able to attain that perfect, seamless, shiny approach that you know, the Jones next door has. So choosing to take your Superwoman Cape off means being real, means accepting the shadow and the light. It means coming into a place of acceptance that there are some weaknesses and a lot of strengths, and that in fact these weaknesses have some really valuable gold and gifts to give you. So yeah, Adair is saying, let's not do shiny, let's do real. Exactly, #do real. In fact, I really advocate getting real and getting in touch with your inner self. So my second tip for you is to come into alignment with your personal values. Many of us there are skating around out there just doing what we do because we have an expectation of what we want to achieve. And what can be really useful is to actually take stock, stop and take note, jot down your top 5 personal values and just see how those top 5 personal values stack up against the framework that you've currently got yourself in. And if there are complete dissonances, like for me, family's first. So when I worked in the public sector and it was expected that you didn't have a family, you just did what you were told and bugger your family, you can see that how that was a massive mismatch for me and why I got very miserable and uncomfortable in that particular framework, because my personal value is my family is the most important thing to me. That's it. So I had to find a way for me to express that in my working profession in a way that was true to me personally and that also didn't disadvantage people that I was working with. So it's a bit of a balance. So I invite you to just quickly jot down your top 5 personal values and just do a little audit on how those values stack up against with what you're actually doing and how that makes you feel, and whether there's a source of discomfort and irritation in that mismatch, in that misalignment. And if they are perfectly aligned, that's brilliant. You've done an exceptional job. Well done. And Adair is also saying, know your personal values and come into alignment with them. Absolutely. Adair, are you saying that your top 5 personal values are fun, family, friendship, fame and fortune? Don't you love the F word? Absolutely. I love the 5 F words you've chosen. Perfect values. I love them. So the third tip that I would have for you comes back to acknowledging your weaknesses. You have strengths, you have weaknesses, and one of your strengths that you can, and I encourage you to work on this, is when you need help, ask for it. It takes an inordinate amount of courage to put your hand up and say, can I have some help, please? Okay, so just acknowledge that asking for help is actually a strength, and it's an opportunity to start creating community connection, to start creating sisterhood, to start recreating a society that has warmth and depth and meaning to it, that is not all just shiny surface stuff with people falling apart underneath. Okay, it's really important that we get real, get rid of that Superwoman cape. Oh my goodness, Superwoman is just a cartoon character that was created, you know, for the fantasies of adolescent boys, I'm sure. So, you know, we don't need to be superwomen. We need to be real women. And Michelle Pratt is saying, careful who you ask. Okay, can you give me a little bit more information on that, Michelle? Oh, careful who you ask for help from. Yeah, okay, so yeah, a certain amount of discernment always comes in handy when we are looking for help. Absolutely. And I think it's Adair masquerading as My Time TV is saying, asking for help is a strength. I felt it was a weakness. Now I know it is a strength. Yeah, I agree, Adair. Certainly when I was, you know, just a little bit younger than I am now and struggling as a new mum, I thought that I had to do it all on my own, and that by asking for help, it was actually a sign of weakness. Adair is also saying, oh dear Lord, that was a big taboo in my corporate job. We had to have the blueprint before we even opened our mouths. It was very unhealthy. And Michelle's saying yes. Okay, so I think Michelle's saying yes to the discerning about who you ask for help. And My Time TV, which I think is Adair, yes, I love that we as women are... Oh, that's Effie. Hey, Effie, thanks for joining me today. Yes, I love that we as women are real. Absolutely. There's so much warmth and connection when we can take off our Superwoman cape, look at ourselves in the mirror and truly see the beautiful person that's there. We are perfect the way we are. Adair Palmer. Ah, yes, yep, I think we've identified My Time TV, Adair, as being Effie. Yes, absolutely. A little bit of byplay in the comments there between Effie and Adair. So those are my 3 tips for you today. Choose to take your Superwoman cape off. Don't have it ripped off. I'm doing very well, thank you, Effie. I'm not sure if that comment was for me or for Adair, but thank you for asking. I'm having a gorgeous day, except Facebook won't let me invite people in to talk. Never mind. So my first tip was to choose to take your Superwoman cape off. Don't have it ripped off. Come to the realization that the longer you strive to have that Superwoman cape, the more and more artificial, unreal, and less able and worthy and deserving you feel. Okay, it really creates that dichotomy between how much you want to achieve and be seen as a top achiever and how you feel on the inside about the fact that you don't think you've actually got what it takes. Oh, thank you, Effie. Yeah, I'm having a gorgeous day. How are you, my precious? I'm so thrilled to see you here. The second tip was coming into true alignment with your personal values. So taking time to just quickly jot down the top 5. You don't need to get too in-depth, just the top 5 will do. And do a little audit. How do your personal values stack up with what you're actually doing? You know, is that the source of discomfort for you? If you're out of alignment there, what can you do about it? Have a think. And the third tip was to give yourself a break, to know when it's time to ask for help and be brave. It takes inordinate courage to reach out and ask for help. So, Effie, you're having a lovely day too. That's fantastic. So that's just about it. We've got a couple more minutes. Are there any other questions or comments that people watching in would like to make? It's interesting, isn't it, to see how society has progressed over time to make things faster and easier in the home so that we can spend more time out of the home and in the workforce. But in doing so, we're becoming more dissatisfied, more disillusioned, and less connected and less real as, sane human beings. We're really caught up in a cycle of big, better, best, more, faster, shiny, and kind of losing touch with some of the home-based truths and some of the important heartfelt connection that we can actually have. These are the things that really will get us through. So I'd like to leave you with those thoughts. I can't see any other questions or comments coming through. I'm Linda Emsley from Love Lali, and it's been my absolute pleasure to talk with you today about taking off the Superwoman cape. It's part of the process of detoxing your corporate career. And if you are looking for ways to either enable yourself to fit better in your corporate box, or perhaps you're getting really uncomfortable in your corporate box and you're starting to look outside the walls at what might be happening around outside, and you'd like to have a chat to somebody, I'm a career shift mentor, and that is my forte. It's a journey I've taken myself, and it's something that I am passionate about in seeing women step out into their true purpose, whether that is embodying their essential feminine qualities and energy in the workplace they're currently in, or whether that means a complete transition out of their current workplace into something that is their sole purpose calling. So if you'd like to have a chat to me, I'm offering a 15-minute obligation-free discovery call. You can connect with me through Messenger, or you can text me on my mobile number, which I will put in the blurb at the top, but I'll give it to you now as well. It's 0407 790 373, and I'll pop it back up there. So Adair, if you just missed that, you can connect with me either through Messenger, or you can text me on my mobile number, and I'll stick the number in the description above the video today. Or you can just connect with me through my Facebook page, Love Lali, which is at Think, Move, Feel. Because when you work with me, the outcome I want for you is for you to think, move and feel differently. And Christy Howell has just joined, I see. Thanks, Christy, for taking time. I know you're very busy with your naturopathic clinic, and I'm truly looking forward to connecting with you next Wednesday. And Facebook is going to be so kind to me next week and allow us to connect and have that chat about adrenal fatigue. So I will, thank you, Adair. Yes, I'll tag my page in the description up above, and allow people who want to connect with me for an obligation-free 15-minute discovery call. We can do that. We can talk about what's happening for you in your corporate career, We can talk about what's happening for you as a mumpreneur. We can talk about what's happening for you as a sole trader. I'm happy to talk with whatever box you're working in. Okay, I'm Linda Emsley from Love Lali. Thank you for joining me in the lounge room today. It's been a pleasure to talk about Superwoman and how we can ditch her cape and start detoxing our corporate career. I hope you can join me in the lounge room again next Wednesday, when I hope that Facebook is so kind and I have the fortune and the pleasure to be connecting with Christy, our naturopath from Everlasting Health NT. Okay, so that's all from me today. I'll see you next time. Thank you.